If you're like me and struggle to afford lactose-free dairy products, I'm about to show you how to bring dairy back into your life and your kitchen. Being lactose intolerant is crappy enough without getting punished at the grocery store by having to pay almost twice as much for most lactose-free dairy products. So I found a way that I can take regular dairy products from the grocery store and make them lactose-free at home. And I'm going to show you how. The enzyme lactase breaks down lactose, the sugar found in milk products. People that are lactose intolerant, their bodies don't produce this enzyme. So what we're doing here is we are replacing that enzyme with an artificial one to help break down that milk sugar. So you can think of an enzyme basically like a cashier at a grocery store. So if there's not a lot of cashiers, there's not a lot of lanes open, it's going to take a long time for the people to go through. So if you're only adding a small amount of that lactase enzyme, it's going to take a long time for all that lactose to get broken down. Now, temperature also does affect the rate at which the lactose is broken down. Lactase generally works within the human body, so temperatures that are warmer, closer to human body temperature, are going to break that down faster. But with something like milk or other dairy products, we want to be careful with temperature. We obviously also don't want to grow bacteria while we're breaking down that lactose. So it's a little bit of a balancing act, and you would use different amounts of enzyme for different amounts of lactose containing dairy products. Many of you might be familiar with lactase enzyme pills that you can buy at your pharmacies or grocery stores. And they actually contain the enzyme that your body doesn't produce that breaks down the milk sugar, the lactose, in dairy products. They can be kind of expensive. It can be hard to know how many of them you should take for which dairy products, and you have to take them every single time that you're eating the dairy, even if it's just a smaller amount. So I find they can be expensive and inconvenient. So as an alternative, I've started adding my lactase enzyme directly to my dairy products. To make my regular milk lactose free, we're just going to take it and we're going to add it to a bottle that we clean very, very well with very hot soapy water. And we're just going to add that in. And we go. And I think we'll use just 1 liter for now. And then I'm going to take one of my dairy enzyme capsules. So this one is 9,000 units of the lactase enzyme. I really like this one. It's a good dose. It's already powdered. I'm just going to open that and dump it right in there. Close our bottle. Give it a really good shake. And the temperature that the milk is at is going to dictate how long this takes. So for 1 liter in the fridge, it's going to take this about 24 hours, which is what I'm going to go with right now. If you were to leave it on the countertop, if you were going to use it immediately in cooking, it would only take about 6. And that's for 1 liter. Of course, it would take longer or more enzyme if we're going to go with more milk. And we're just going to pop that in the fridge. And 24 hours, we'll have delicious lactose-free milk. It's just that easy. Now, my favorite thing about adding your enzymes to your bottle instead of taking them when you eat something is those enzymes just keep working as long as there's lactose to digest. So every 24 hours or so before I go to bed, I just like to top off my bottle with about, between a cup and 2 cups of milk. We'll give it another good shake, and then by the time we wake up in the morning, all that lactose will have also been broken down. So I will usually buy a 4-liter bag of milk or just a couple liters, and every night I'll add about a half a liter to that. And by the time I'm done with those 4 liters of milk, it's time to wash my bottle and we start again. Different dairy products contain different amounts of lactose. So things like milk have generally higher amounts of lactose. Things like yogurt have generally pretty low levels. Things like sour cream or cottage cheese kind of in between. You can always look online and just kind of Google lactose content of various dairy products just to kind of get a baseline idea to start with. But I generally find I like to go with this specific product of lactase enzyme just as their powdered capsules. And 9,000 units of lactase is a good amount. That's about half of the maximum recommended if you were actually ingesting it to digest dairy products, but it takes less of the enzyme if you're adding it to the products outside of your body because it's not broken down by your body's digestive processes. But I generally find one of these mixed with an amount like this of any dairy product and then put in the fridge for about 24 hours. You're going to end up fairly lactose-free products after that. If you're like me and have not only dietary but also budgetary restrictions, you'll always appreciate finding a way to save a little bit of money without giving up the things that you love. So if you enjoyed this tip, please feel free to like and subscribe for future tips and tricks like this and future videos. And if you have any specific questions about specific dairy products and their lactose content, or specific enzymes and the amount to add, temperature to keep it at, or how long it will take, please feel free to leave me a comment and I will get back to you. Thanks again. Now that's gourmet.